Hi guys, this is a third lesson here on how to DJ. I touched base on this a couple of times, and I just wanted to go ahead and bring this up. This is all about keys. So I mentioned it, a couple lessons back. There is a reason why, and that is when you are doing a gig, you're going to want to know if it's going to increase the energy or decrease the energy. Because that's what DJs are really looking at right now. All right, do I need to amp this up or do I need to rotate the dance floor, right? I mean, the bartenders are getting mad. Promoter is going to be like, yeah, they're having a great time, but alcohol sales are suffering. There's a reason why you want to do certain things at certain points in time. So one thing I want to touch base on are some pitfalls and some things that you can do to kind of either do a cool down mix or you're trying to hype up the crowd, or maybe you're the warm up mix DJ, ready for the just readying the crowd as they come in so that when you get them almost right where they're about to dance, you go over and you hand it to the resident DJ. There's a zillion different ways to DJ. It just all happens to be on style, preference, whatever the heck you want to do. If you close your mind to certain songs, though, you're really alienating yourself. So I usually like to stay with more of the pop, the hip-hop. Sometimes I'll do some orchestra. I'll do some effects, do some crazy stuff with that, drop in acapellas, house. And I really hate trance. I mean, I hate it with a passion, but I'll sometimes start a nice warm-up with it. But as far as that goes, that's when you structure the mix, and I'll talk about that later. But this is a portion of structuring your mix so that you can actually create an epic story whenever you are mixing. So right now, I'm going to explain how keys work, what they do, and how you can use it as a tool or in your knowledge toolbox so that when you start doing mixes, you can actually go over and control what people are feeling at what time. I mean, it's kind of like mind control, right? Hey, you're the one that's controlling it. And maybe one day you'll get out and you'll actually start doing real-life DJing. So for one here, we got two tracks that are totally off in BPM. Remember last time I was talking about BPM? I've gone to two different extremes here. I've got a 116 BPM hip-hop song, Cherished by Young Jock. And then I've got one of the newer tracks. It actually came out maybe a month ago or so. But I don't really play it that much. But One More Night by Maroon 5. All right, two different genres. A lot of people like to stick in their own little genre. I like to cross-jump to genres. I like to go over and kind of excite them. Yeah, I'll stay with one genre for about 3 tracks. But if something sounds right and you want to drop a bomb on them, I mean, it just depends on the crowd. And especially if you're searching around, it's good to have a music arsenal. Because when you first start and set up, you don't know what, and you've never been in your like a guest DJ. You don't know what the heck they're gonna want. I mean, yeah, you could have stopped in a couple of times, saw what DJs were playing before, but people have different. The crowd can be different every time. I mean, one day they'll like dubstep, one day they'll like house, one day they'll like 80s. I mean, it just depends. So, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go over and do something with keys. Now, I'm gonna bring up something real quick. And don't be shocked by it. Well, if it'll pull up. Where the heck is it? Ah, there we go. All right. Cool. So, yeah, my arrow thing wasn't going on. I got a Mac when I play out, but whenever I'm at my desk and I got all this stuff here, I'm just like, whatever. I'll just use Windows. So, right here, we've got a key charts Camelot wheel. And house DJs, especially trance DJs, all you blend mix DJs, you guys that do 32, 64, 128 count blend mixes that nobody can freaking tell the difference for, you guys probably will need this. This is your guide to mixing. To more hip hop commercial type stuff, we can get away with cut mixing. and kind of using build-ups to cover stuff up and filter effects and all sorts of effects that we can do. So we get a little bit more leniency, but with the trance guys, the house guys, trap, dubstep, you're not even really going to care about. It's like two fax machines arguing. So you can really slide in between them, and they probably wouldn't even notice. But for now, we got the Camelot wheel here. Each song is in a certain key, and what this wheel means is we've got, let's say, like at the very top here, we've got an E major. And if you notice, you'll see that it's got a key of 12B. That's how I key mine, because as a DJ, I used to play an instrument when I was in high school, but I don't remember that crap anymore. I just want to DJ. I don't even want to produce. A lot of DJs are like, well, you're not a DJ if you don't produce. Well, I mean, I can produce. I'll open up Fruity Loops and sometimes chuck in, a bass line and then throw in an acapella, just say, yeah, I can produce. But that's totally different thing. Producing and DJing, I mean, DJs will use it to be unique. We all want to be unique. So DJs will use it to be unique and then drop in their acapella that they had created. Nobody's ever heard it before. And it's the safest way that nobody else is going to grab your track. So it's a very good way to get recognized is, hey, if you can do some music composition, mash it up with a key, throw in an acapella, and boom, you got a remix. Or maybe you wanted to do a dirty Dutch drop. You got something quick and easy. People will be like, oh my gosh, I never heard that before. So those are little things that you can keep in the back of your mind if you feel like going that route. So we've got the 12A. So we got the minor and the major. The majors are all on the outside of the wheel. If we had a song in 12B, we could mix it with 11B and 1B. You can mix it one away. You can also mix it to the minor. So you can go to 12A. Now 12B can't go to 11A, and 12B can't go to 1A. It can't go diagonally. It can go either left or right or up and down. So if I was in 12A, a D flat minor, I could go into an E major, all right? Or I could go into an A flat minor, which is an 1A, and then or the 11A, which is a 4 sharp minor. Not only can you do that, but you can also go into the minor or the major keys. What does that mean? A major key is when you're going over and you're going 5 octaves up. So if I had 12A, if I went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the C minor, which is 5A, I would be in the minor of that key. If I went up 7, I would be in the major of that key. I would be the major of that key. So when you go up 6A to 7A, now you're in D minor. What that does is that amplifies things. And there's a website on here that they did a scientific test where they kept rotating around the wheel, and it keeps sounding louder and louder, and you can listen to it all day. It'll just keep sounding louder and louder and louder and louder and louder, but nothing's happening. All they're doing is going around the wheel. That's how you amp it. Now, if you're going to go down, you can also go. You can start going down the wheel or backtracking. So if I was in 12A and I go into 11A, I'm kind of bringing the music down. I'm bringing it down a tone a little bit. During a cool-down mix, I usually go counterclockwise around the wheel. During a build-up mix, I'm going to go up or I'm going to go clockwise around the wheel. And sometimes, also, if you're in 12A, you can also mix in another same key, the exact same key. Because 12A is 12A, 12B, 12B, or we'll keep it D flat minor, E major. These keys you can mix within each other. And if you wanted to increase the energy, you would increase the 1A, or you would increase it 5 to be in the minor key, or you would increase it 7 to be in a major key. That's how the melodies work. There are some now a lot of people are like, well, how the hell can I tell the key? I'm not going to go over through all my zillions of songs and then go over and key them. Well, you don't have to. There's something called mixed in key. It's not 100% perfect. There's a lot of times where I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go over through it mixed in key, and then, that was one key off, Instead of it being a 12A, it was actually an 11A, and I was already in 1A, and now it sounds like garbage. So one thing to do is always, whenever you're about to start your mix, go ahead or, before and double check the keys. Make sure that those keys are right. If you got a key, everything's been working correctly before, and then that one was off, chuck it in a bucket while you're on a set or something so that you could re-key it or look online to find the correct key. Trust me, it's a lifesaver. And it will also allow you to code your keys in these numbers instead of the actual key itself. Now, if you're a musician, obviously you're going to be laughing. You'll be like, well, I don't need to go by the numbers. I mean, I don't want to do arithmetic. That's fine. But for now, I mean, if you're a new DJ and you want to learn about keying, this is a good place to start. Now, I'm going to go back to the tracks here. And right now, if you look up here in the top, it's got a 5A on it. And then I've got One More Night, which is a 12A. All right? Now, if I didn't have these these note locks here, it would sound off. Let me go ahead and come in here real quick. All right, so that's going way faster than it should because it's at 93 BPM. Almost Alvin and the Chipmunk stuff, right? But if I key lock it, which is pretty cool, you notice how the key changed. The rule of thumb here is that 6% of your BPM is changed. You have moved it either up or down a key, like on a piano, like in a minor or major key. Not like the Camelot wheel, but it really will help you if you're going over and you're and you're mixing and you really want this track to work. You can actually take this key lock off and then adjust it so that you can get the correct key that you're looking for and then throw it in. Just an option. It's one of the tools that you can learn more on. But yeah, you would basically use your tempo fader, take it off the lock, and then go to town. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to assume you do not have mixing key, and you're going to do it by ear. A lot of DJs will do that. They won't take the digital way, and that's cool. And I actually agree with it because that one time you go over and you have a bad key, it could really ruin the energy. I mean, you just really disrupted the force here. So let's go ahead and let's start it out. All right, this is just an intro, so I'm not really too worried about it. Let's skip through. I'll show you what I mean by how it sounds, how you can actually get vocals to mix with each other sometimes or anything else. But let's go. Cherish. All right, so right there, I'm going over and I'm showing you how you can be in key here. So it sounds pretty nice together. It sounds like they belong, and that's how you can tell if a key if something is in key or not. Now, what happened here was I took 5A, added 7 to it, got a 12A, and I'm in its major key. So if we went back to our wheel here, 5A would be, in music terms, if I can find a C minor, and then of course we got 12A, which is a D flat minor. So it's a good little tool to use, and then you can also use it to mix out. So if I went back in, the phrase already started, so it was no good. But if I had actually wanted to, I could have just mixed it from there. So let's see if we can do that. I'm going to actually do intro to intro mixing. Actually, not quite intro. It's going to be, I'm going to let the intro go in a little deep. Cherish. Make me wanna lose control. Way too far. You know who it is. I don't think they're ready for this one. Alright, that was weak because the volume was lower. So you might want to check your auto gain. And then you'll be good. So let's actually, yeah, I wasn't paying attention to my volume meters. So let's go ahead and let's go again. Usually when I'm DJing, I don't even think of all this stuff. But I mean, I'm looking at meters, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm not teaching anything. But let's go ahead and let's go back and let's do this.
Cherish. You and I go hard at each other like we're going to war. You and I.
Okay, so out of this whole key lessons, another thing is volume. Just make sure that your gain is there. You should have some LED lights. You'll have some LED lights on your controller or something like that to help assist you. You also have a master because the sound engineer over there is going to be like yelling at you if you're clipping. But that's for another time. I'll talk about song quality and that sort of stuff later. But anyways, that was a little bit more of an aggressive mix. I don't think I would actually try that for real. But you have to be creative with it. It works because you're operating off of phrases. So if you can just keep using the phrases, the sky's the limit. And later on, you can break out of that shell and go further with it. But you know, it gives you an opportunity to do what you need to do, and hope you have fun. Do your thing.